All right, Agency Elephant users, just want to go over a couple things that we get questions on, and that is your customer list and or prospect list, how it's supposed to look for your import, how to import it. We've gone over this in a couple other videos, but I wanted to post this fresh video for you guys. When you download your customer list, you're going to have a list that looks probably something like this, right? State, zip, and then let's put my mobile number. Lord willing, you have that, or not mine, but your clients, right? Then you have an email account, right, for that client. Lord willing, you have one of those for the clients. But this is going to be how your list should look when you come into Agency Elephant. So you'll have an email for a client, probably have a ton of other information on that client's account, okay? Now, usually even some of these lists will come in looking like this, right? Okay, or they may even come in, most of them will probably come in looking like this, okay? So when we're looking at our client list and our prospect list, when we're getting ready for them to import into Agency Elephant, one of the first things we're going to do is make sure that we're separating the first and last name columns. We have to get these separated in order for us to import into Agency Elephant, okay? So first thing I do is I add a couple other rows next to this one because I'm going to do what's called a we're going to use data. We're going to do split text to columns, okay? And this is going to split Han and Matthew apart. Personally, I know that this is my last name and first name, so when I import this to Agency Elephant, I'm going to make sure this says last name, this says first name. I'm going to delete this out because I don't need it right now, and this is what our list will look like, right? We've got name, address, city, state, zip, mobile, email. You could even have an X date, right? On here when your expiration date is. You can even have a birthday, right? This is how it should look when you import it, okay? Next thing we're going to have a problem with is these all capitals. We don't want to send out texts out to people that say, hey, Matthew, in all capitals, and the rest of it's regular. We want to do what's called a title casing rule. We're simply going to insert columns to the right of each side of these, and you can pause this video and go back and watch it. I'm not going to go super slow, but you can pause it and work through this. Next thing you're going to do is next to the Han column, you're going to do an equal proper parentheses A1, okay? Because I'm title casing A1, proper casing A1. Column A, row 1, I'm title casing it. Look at this. Now it says Han, okay? Now I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do the same thing over here, but instead of A1, I'm going to do C1 because this is now C1. I'm trying to proper case this. Now, if I have a ton of other stuff down here, right, underneath each one of these, right, and then I have a ton of other names that are all underneath this, right, there's this cool little feature that this bottom of the box is a little blue square. If you double click that, it's going to title case everything in that row. See? So now we have true title case, good names. We can send text out to these names and it won't look awkward. One thing you cannot do is delete this column though, right? Because this column over here is based upon these rows, okay? So when you import this list into Agency Elephant, you are simply going to come over here, and I will save this as an Excel to show you. All right, so save it as a CSV, download it. Okay, I've got my untitled spreadsheet, putting it on my dashboard so I know what it is. Replace that one. All right, Agency Elephant users, sorry for the cut in our video. We had a little bit of a change on the importing your leads. So I want to walk you through how to import leads and trigger automation that way, or not trigger automation. I'm going to show you how to do both of those. So when you go into your lead section here, into your leads manager, you are at the top right of your page, and let me move my window over to the bottom here. Top right of your page, you're going to see an import leads button. You're going to go ahead and click that import leads button, and these pages will look relatively the same as they previously did. So let's say we are updating or uploading our customer list. We're going to put them into customer BFY. You can tag these people if you know who they are, if you're doing separate lists one at a time of like auto policies, or your next list is home policies, or your next list is life policies, right? You can import that list one at a time for each tagged group if you want to, or you can just put them straight into customers. Next thing you're going to do is select your file, and I have this saved to my desktop. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab this CSV spreadsheet. One tip or trick that I would do, one, if these are customers, you don't scrub them. I don't do mobile verifications either. If their mobile's awesome. If not, I'm going to attempt to send text to them anyways. One tip I have on your CSV when you import it, make sure that you put headers in your, so here's my CSV here. Make sure you put headers of what all these is, first name, last name, mobile, and email. Make sure you put mobile and you don't put phone. Otherwise, that'll put it into the landline status and it will not capture or send text messages. So make sure it's mobile. Email, if you've got expiration date, make sure you put expiration date and you have a field there. Anything else you want, make sure these top bars are where this information is going to. That way, when you actually get to the importing section and you hit start import after you've read, it will automatically show that these sections were mapped to the correct areas. Now, always check to make sure these are accurate with the preview information. Make sure this shows mobile so you can text them. Emails and all of that. If something doesn't track, it will be unchecked and you'll have to come in here and pick what it is. And then it should highlight that button. But if that button doesn't highlight and you have the correct field here, you will be okay. The next section you're going to have is when you import it. I always like to name these. So to be like customer list, full list, or if it was auto no home or home no auto, I'd put home policies, right? Whatever they are, I'd like to name these. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say customer list. The keep existing data is if you already have your client's data in your system, it will not change or update anything. It will just keep existing data and add new data you're adding. I always like to use the append option because even if there's no data or if there is data, I want to append or change information on an account. So if you accidentally import an entire customer list in and you accidentally put them all the mobiles to phones, which is landline, you can easily come in and update all of those, or excuse me, or append all of those to add the mobiles to all of them, or update all of the existing contacts to have the mobiles. I never use manual. I only use append. And then you finish import. And once that's done, it says, hey, this is processing. And when it processes, it will let you know in your flag when that has successfully imported. As you can see, mine's there. So when I come into Matthew Hahn, here is my lead profile. Since I had a different email, it added a new client because it had a different email on the account. So make sure your emails are consistent. And when you're importing people, you use that option for the append or update correctly. So that is how you import those lists into specific groups. If you are grabbing a list and you're importing them straight into, say, the aged leads, make sure you pick the aged leads BFY to trigger that automation, and also pick the prospects BFY group so you can track them. One thing I like to do is I like to also tag the group that I'm triggering for prospects, because if I change this group or remove it when that drip stops, I always want to know why I imported them and who they were. And sometimes I'll even come in and say age leads, 12, 30, 2021. And I'll put a date field on there and hit that add button those here. Other than that, that is how you import your customer list. Make sure you follow the previous part of this video on how to edit that list to make sure it comes back correctly. But that is how to import your customer or prospect or specific winbacks, aged leads, home no auto, and all of that straight into your system. Pretty straightforward, should be fairly easy to do. Use a test like I did on myself and try a test of importing yourself into it to make sure you can do it. Have a great afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow.